For real, episode 5 is actually way closer than you might think, and there are a few solid reasons for that. First off, let's not forget that the pilot for Gaslight District dropped about a month ago, and just a couple days back, the Glitch logo changed again on all platforms, bringing back the classic OG look. Now yeah, that could have been tied to the Murder Drones release on Prime, but that already happened. So what's the next big move after a logo switch? You guessed it, the release of episode 5. Plus, it's already been over 5 months since episode 4 came out. Let's be real, it's kinda weird that we haven't even gotten a tiny tease or update about this long-awaited episode. Honestly, this whole wait is dragging on for so long that fans are asking the obvious, where the heck is episode 5? And weirdly enough, there's been zero info, not even a little hint. There wasn't even this much silence between the pilot and episode 2. I seriously don't get why episode 5 is being totally ignored. Did Gaslight District mess up the schedule that bad? If that's the case, based on how it performed, that might just be Glitch's biggest flop. And no matter what anyone says, but the amazing digital Circus is the one show that flipped the whole animation scene on its head. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Considering how much time has passed, the fact that all the side projects are done messing with the amazing digital Circus, and how wild the fan interest still is, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We'll probably get the episode 5 trailer before the end of May, and the actual episode might finally drop sometime in the first half of June. Oh, and by the way, we did get something that kinda looked like a leak. So yeah, now all we can do is wait, and try to figure out what the heck's gonna happen in this next episode based on everything we know so far. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. We all know that Goose mentioned episodes 5 and 6 would be evenly split between Jax and Ragatha. However, if we look at an older update from Gooseworx, it becomes clear that episode 5 was originally planned as Ragatha's episode. And if we take a look back at everything that's happened to this doll so far, the older info actually seems more accurate. So today, let's talk about what might happen to Ragatha in episode 5. Ragatha has long seemed like one of the kindest and most positive characters in the digital Circus, yet unfortunately, she spent 95% of the time in the shadows. Almost no one paid attention to her until episode 4, after which her personality sparked incredible interest among the audience. And given that the upcoming episode will focus on her, the anticipation of what will happen to Ragatha in episode 5 only grows stronger. Spoiler, you certainly don't expect it. We'll analyze her behavior, the events surrounding her, and of course, her role and the full revelation of all her secrets in episode 5. Initially, all the attention was directed at Pomni, even in episodes where other characters were supposed to take the spotlight. Episode 4 broke this trend, meaning episode 5 might very well open with a scene involving Ragatha and Gangle, as hinted in the previous episode. This may seem unrelated until you consider that episode 4 actually revealed the secret that episode 5 would center around sports. Most likely, after her words and actions in episode 4, we will witness Ragatha's deep remorse. After all, no matter what, she still wants to appear as a kind-hearted character. Episode 5 will gradually, through the lens of repentance, unveil the whole truth about Ragatha, who will have to earn forgiveness not only from Gangle.
Why are you even the boss anyway? I feel like I'm way more responsible than you.
A team works much better when we're all giving it 110% instead of, 5.
No offense, but you're kind of annoying when you have your happy mask.
But also from Zooble. Despite Zooble's willingness to help Ragatha, her memory of the disgraceful behavior that could have seriously endangered both of them still lingers.
I made like 5 or 6 of them.
Cool, that's 6 out of 300.
Ugh, you are such a grouch. Why are you always being a grunch?
Throughout all the previous episodes, it seemed like Ragatha had chosen Pomni as her best friend. She went out of her way to help Pomni settle in during the pilot episode, did everything she could to lift her spirits in episode 2, and continued her supportive behavior in episode 3.
This place is spooky. I wonder how hard Kane's gonna go with the scare factor.
I hope this adventure doesn't end up being another horrible nightmare.
Scared of the vacuum cleaner too?
Hey, be nice to her. She's had a rough couple of days.
But despite the positive start of episode 4, we finally learned what Ragatha truly thinks about Pomni.
Oh, she's flirting with the gummy guy, 'cause she'd rather be with an NPC than with us or something.
But even that isn't the main point here, is it? At some point, Ragatha and Pomni started feeling like a single unit, almost like a brand, and I would have bet anything that their relationship would only grow stronger over time. Of course, we haven't fully seen it fall apart yet, but the seed of doubt has already been planted in Pomni's mind, and there's no undoing that. Now, if there's someone I least expected to cause such a betrayal, It's Gangle.
Ragatha would like to help you out.
Oh, Ragatha. I love her, but after a while it gets kinda hard to tell how genuine she's actually being.
And judging by Pomni's increasingly detached attitude toward Ragatha after this, it really makes you think about the cracks forming in their relationship. This leaves Ragatha with 3 characters in her circle who either don't fully trust her or hold some small grudge against her. A significant portion of Episode 5 will likely focus on unpacking Ragatha's behavior, whether it's through her actions or words. We don't know for sure just yet. At some point, it might have seemed like Ragatha was actually the villain. I even made a video on that theory, but after some reflection, I realized the root of Ragatha's issues lies elsewhere entirely, and that will be the crux of Episode 5. Remember this key takeaway: Ragatha is not the villain. Episode 2 serves as a sort of gold standard for understanding Ragatha's behavior. It gave us a glimpse into almost every aspect of how she handles different stressful situations. Plus, it featured one of the most mysterious scenes in the entire amazing digital Circus universe. I spent a long time puzzling over its meaning, and now it ties back to the so-called leak we mentioned earlier in this video. Gooseworx teased on Twitter, people getting attached to this evil version of Ragatha is going to make Episode 5 so much funnier. It's a cryptic statement, but it might refer to Ragatha's deceptive mental state. Episode 5 won't just be about some evil Ragatha, it's going to dive deeper into her character. We'll finally see that despite all her seemingly genuine kindness and positivity, Ragatha is the most mentally unstable character in the digital Circus. This idea is backed up by hints from the pilot episode, particularly in one dorm hallway scene. At first, Ragatha behaves exactly as we've come to expect from her.
Even though we don't really need to sleep, it's sometimes nice to kind of take a break from everything and have a bit of a routine, you know? I'm sure there'll be one for... Oh, look, you already got one.
And then, chaos begins to unfold in her mind.
Crazy. And eventually you get to asking what the point of anything is, and you completely lose sight of who you are and why you're even alive, and when you reach your breaking point, something really terrible can happen.
Now we've gradually unraveled the part about Ragatha's mental state in Episode 5. But let's not forget about that so-called leak, which becomes clearer once we dissect her mental state. We've come to understand that Ragatha will be deeply unsettled by her actions in Episode 4. At the same time, she'll be doing everything she can to regain the trust of the other characters. Considering her special bond with Pomni, her top priority will be to hear the words spoken during one of the final scenes of Episode 3.
Thanks for always being concerned about me. I feel like, through everything, I haven't really been appreciative enough about that.
That darker side of Ragatha serves as a reminder that within this character, 2 personalities are constantly at odds. One part of her genuinely wants to help, while the other is terrified of everything happening around her and does its best to hide it. This inner conflict will undoubtedly influence her actions in Episode 5. As I've mentioned before, Episode 5 is set to be sports-themed, and we've already dubbed it Digital Games. Pretty catchy, right? Even though, with a 99% probability, the entire episode will revolve around just one sport: baseball. There are 2 theories about Ragatha's role in the game. She could either be a coach or an umpire. That's what a referee is called in baseball, for those who didn't know. I have a feeling that the role of a coach will perfectly reveal Ragatha's personality, because only in such a situation will we truly see who she really is and how she reacts when something doesn't go her way. After all, any sports competition is filled with passion, and passion reveals a person's true face. To add more intrigue, Kane, inspired by the idea of motivation after a conversation with Gangle, might introduce some sort of prize fund that the characters would find very appealing. But remember what I said, Ragatha also needs to figure out and resolve all her issues with the other characters, and doing that during the game itself is nearly impossible. That's why practice sessions exist, where she could talk to each character one-on-one, and then we'll finally determine who Ragatha truly is: a kind-hearted character who can be trusted, an insecure woman hiding something, or perhaps just a regular hypocrite concealing something truly awful behind a mask of kindness. In any case, we'll need to wait for the new episode to know for sure. However, I feel that Episode 4 was, strange as it sounds, a breath of fresh air for Ragatha, and her words to Jax confirm it.
Yo, Jax. I, hate you, but I don't want you to hate me. Is that weird?
You're drunk or something.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she's not the most positive character, but she clearly enjoyed simply being herself rather than trying to please everyone. and I respect and value that. I really, once again, really hope that in episode 5, Ragatha will truly open up to everyone and show who she really is without any pretentious masks. You might have noticed that this video didn't include specific details about the new episode, and I think that's the right choice, because today, we're not talking about the plot. Instead, we're trying to understand what lies ahead for just one character, the main star of the new episode, Ragatha. And as always, I'm looking forward to your thoughts in the comments. Y'all remember that recent post from Gooseworx where we found out about Kane's reaction to episode 8, right? That got me thinking, what the hell could have shocked Kane that much? And after watching that TADC ad in Japan, I feel like the puzzle pieces are finally coming together. At first, I didn't get the whole deal. Why the hell did Glitch and Goose throw some random abstracted monster into that ad a year and a half after we last saw something like that? On one hand, you could just say it's Kufmo, and that abstraction is just a symbol of TADC, which would make sense. But what if that ain't it? Maybe this character is hinting that someone else is going to share Kufmo's fate in the future. Or hell, maybe it ain't even Kufmo at all. Maybe it's somebody else. We already know Kane locked Kufmo away in that basement with the other monsters, and from what I can tell, none of them have managed to get out. What really backs up my theory is Pomni and Jax's dynamic in that ad. Based on how they interact, it looks like they're at least at the episode 3 stage. Think about it. Back in the pilot, Pomni had no clue what was going on. In episode 2, she still wasn't ready to clap back at Jax. But episode 3? That's when she really started showing some backbone. And in that case, there's a huge chance that this ad was actually showing us someone new. But who exactly could have turned into an abstracted monster? That's what we're going to find out today. Let me just say up front, don't get too attached to the specific episodes I'm going to mention, because honestly, this kind of transformation could happen in any episode. And Kane's reaction? It might not even be about a returning character. It could be someone completely new. Alright, let's finally get into it. Who's most likely to be the next abstracted monster? A while back, the creators explained that there were only supposed to be 6 characters in the digital circus, and Kufmo didn't make the cut. If we do see someone new in episodes 7-9, unfortunately, that means one of the characters we already know will likely have to transform into an abstracted monster. But how likely is that? And who might be the unlucky one? Let's start with the least obvious candidates. Jax, for many, is the most unpleasant character due to his actions.
Ladies first. No, wait, why would I say that? Side and shoot them repeatedly until they're unrecognizable.
I feel like that violates some kind of convention.
You're violating my ears with your clapback. Get driving, driver.
So, Pomni, I'm sure there's some way you could help out here. Maybe when we catch up to them, we could...
Gotta be assertive. Like this!
Hey! Jax!
However, despite that, Jax's full story will only be revealed in episode 6, and it would be odd to remove him from the digital circus right after his moment in the spotlight. Plus, Gooseworx has shown a clear fondness for Jax, which works in his favor. Personally, I wouldn't want Jax to abstract by the end of the season either. It's really fascinating to see how, with each episode, people seem to care less and less about him.
Don't I know it?
If your friends see him, I only hope he doesn't bore them to death with his endless monologue. Feel free to visit anytime.
Definitely.
What happened up here?
Don't worry about that.
He's no longer as much of a problem for most of the characters. How Jax will behave moving forward will keep us intrigued until the very end. Pomni also has a very slim chance of being removed from the show, despite being the most emotional character in the digital circus.
My name? My name is, oh God! Why can't I remember my name? Why? Every day I spend here is one nightmare after the next. I knew it would end up like this. He just wants me to suffer. I really am in hell.
Plus, her mental state has been steadily improving since the pilot episode. In the pilot, she hated everything around her. But by the second episode, we already saw some signs of improvement. And by the end of episode 3, she had fully accepted what was happening in the digital circus and came to terms with the fact that she wouldn't be able to escape. We even got to see her genuinely happy for the first time.
Oh, Pomni, Kinger, are you guys okay? Was it scary?
I'm fine, actually.
Were you?
Something like that. Hey, Ragatha,
Yeah?
I just want to say Thanks for always being concerned about me.
And let's be honest, if the digital circus started with Pomni, it should end with her. Jax and Pomni are the characters that will definitely stick around until the very end of the season. Besides those two, there's one more character with very little chance of becoming an abstracted monster, Zooble.
If anyone needs me, then f off. Oh god, oh jeez!
Despite her strange behavior and significant mental issues,
It's me, remember? I don't like myself. I hate this body. I hate all these stupid removable pieces.
she definitely won't be leaving the digital circus. Remember that one leak from Gooseworx, where she explicitly mentioned that Zooble would be with us until the end of episode 9. With that, we have 3 characters who definitely won't be removed, and we'll get to enjoy their journeys until the end of the first season. Now, let's turn our attention to those who are more likely to leave the digital circus, just like Kaufmo did. However, since episode 9 will be the finale and won't feature any of the digital circus's horrors, only 2 out of 3 characters will become abstracted monsters, while 1 will remain with the others. Our choices are Kinger, Gangle, and Ragatha. Let's play a little game. I'll first explain the reasons why each of them could turn into an abstracted monster, and before I reveal the correct answer, go ahead and write in the comments who you think will keep their life in the digital circus. Ragatha is the kindest character of them all, and she seems to be the only one genuinely trying to help Pomni adjust to life in the digital circus.
What did any of that mean?
Oh, that's just one of Kane's little adventures. They're just something fun to do to, prevent us from going insane.
Ragatha never loses her optimism, even in the most challenging situations, but her kindness could lead to unfortunate consequences. Ragatha doesn't know how to stand up for herself effectively, and if we recall the scene from episode 3 where Pomni says the long-awaited words to Ragatha,
Hey, Ragatha,
Yeah?
I just want to say thanks for always being concerned about me. I feel like through everything, I haven't really been appreciative enough about that.
we can see how much those words mean to her, as if she had been waiting for them her entire life. But it's not just Pomni who receives support from Ragatha. She extends that same kindness to everyone else as well. However, we haven't seen anyone else truly appreciate Ragatha's actions, and I'm sure that causes her pain. Also, remember how she apologized to Pomni in a situation where she wasn't even at fault.
Oh, and don't worry about the whole abandoning me for the exit thing. It's perfectly understandable what you were going through at the time, and there's no hard feelings. You're all good.
This kind of behavior, along with her overly strong attachment to others, could very well be what leads her to becoming an abstracted monster. Gangle is a victim of the digital circus, or more specifically, a victim of Jax. That rabbit makes sure Gangle, the queen of drama, doesn't get a moment of peace whenever he has the chance.
Which door should we choose?
Not sure. Let's try this out.
Gangle is constantly crying, even in the most harmless situations. She can't stand up to her main bully, Jax, and because of that, she has to endure his torment day after day.
Do it, it'll be epic.
Why are there so many knives back here?
Do it, or I'll tell Ragatha about the figurine thing.
This would put her on the verge of the same state that Kaufmo experienced in the final days of his life. And then we have the king of madness in the digital circus, Kinger.
What was that? Was that you?
No. Oh, wait, you mean me grabbing you right now? Yeah, that was me. Is this your hand?
That's my eye.
Yes, but which eye?
I really don't think that Will you stop touching my eye?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Unstable, fearful, and occasionally rational, Kinger is a character who suffers deeply from his life in the digital circus. We've learned that he isn't as strange as he seems. His pain stems from the loss of the person closest to him.
Right after my wife had abstracted. I don't recall the exact string of events, but we both ended up in the fort together. And it was dark. The darkness seemed to calm her down a bit.
It's quite possible that this tragedy is what caused Kinger to become who he is today. However, it's important to remember that he has truly learned to cope with all the challenges surrounding him. But what if each day becomes an increasing trial for Kinger, and there comes a point when he can't bear it any longer and decides to reunite with his wife? Write down who you think from this trio will survive and who will follow Kaufmo's path. I believe Ragatha will manage to keep her life, and the reason isn't just her immense optimism, but also because of Pomni, who is likely to become her only true friend, helping her cope with all the challenges. On the other hand, Kinger and Gangle face far too harsh conditions in the digital circus, making it truly difficult for them to endure.